What is going on, guys? Sonic and the Bean Show here. Today we're looking at the brand new Jakks specific 4-inch classic Supersonic Heavy Gunner and Mephiles figure from Wave 15. So this is the last wave of this year, of course. I don't know exactly when this came out. I know I talked about it when it first got leaked a month ago, and now it just started showing up in stores all of a sudden, which is no surprise. I mean, these figures just always show up whenever they want to, but in this wave we have 3 new figures here. Shadow is the only re-release character in this set, and he has a re-release accessory as well. So let's take a look at their packaging real quick, starting with Classic Supersonic. So here is the Classic Supersonic figure. As you can see, he is coming with just the red spring, and then of course Classic Supersonic and Heavy Gunner are in that classic packaging, and then Mephiles and Shadow will be in the modern packaging. But yeah, here's the front right here, and then here is the back. So the description: 11 points of articulation, and then these are the other figures, of course, that's in this wave. Alright, so here is Heavy Gunner, and of course Heavy Gunner is coming with the gun. So there's the front, and then here is the back. So Heavy Gunner has 13 points of articulation. And then finally we move on to Mephiles. And Mephiles is coming with like this purple mist sort of base thing, pretty much. I don't know the exact name. And then here is the back. So Mephiles has 11 points of articulation. And oh, there it is, yeah, with purple mist base. Okay, I think that's exactly what I said. Alright. So that right there was their packaging. So without further ado, let's go ahead and crack these out of the box and take a closer look. Okay, so the first figure we're going to be looking at here is Classic Supersonic. Now, I don't want to spend too much time on this figure because it's pretty much the same as the minifigure right here. As you can see, the only difference is that, the mouth is just on the opposite side this time. And he doesn't have the, the open hand right here. And that's pretty much it, though. Like, it's really the exact same figure. I mean, at least he doesn't have that weird leg problem that this figure had, as you can see. But this figure is still a kind of a pain to stand sometimes, and this leg is like really loose, really. But yeah, it's pretty much that, really. This has the 2 fisted hands as the Jakks Gold Classic Supersonic figure right here. See how they both got the 2 fisted hands right here. And then, the face is the same as that one. As you can see, this one is different. Like, the eyes are a little bit smaller. And then, like, that line right here on his mouth is a little bit longer than compared to this one. But, yeah, that's pretty much that, really. So, yeah, pretty similar to that. And then I'll compare him to the modern Supersonic figure. So, of course, the classic, the 4-inch classic Sonic figures, they don't usually always scale that well with the modern 4-inch figures, since they're they're a bit too big. But I thought I would show this off because we now have the modern and classic Supersonic figures in the 4-inch scale, so that's really cool. So yeah, these two look pretty great together. So we have that, and then I will compare it to just the regular classic Sonic right here. So there you go. So pretty much that. Articulation, I don't really need to go over it. Like if you have this figure right here, you know what you're getting into, really. There, everything's pretty much the same. And then the accessory is, of course, the the red spring. So yeah, pretty much that. Not a whole lot going on here, but it's still cool to have a have a classic Supersonic figure in the 4-inch scale, which is wild that we're just now getting this, though. But yeah, pretty much that. Alright, and next up is going to be Heavy Gunner, and this figure is actually really nice. I knew I was going to like it just because of how similar it looked to like the Egg Robo figure, and I really like that figure. So I knew for sure that this one was going to be like one of my favorites as well, and I'm really pleased with this one. I think this figure actually looks really, really good. Now, the torso, it's not going to have like that sort of gloss sort of finish to the plastic compared to like the Egg Robo, and I think the head was a little kind of like glossy too in a way, so everything's like a matte finish, really. But I mean, it still looks pretty good. Now, could it look better? Of course. I think like if the light was maybe like transparent, feels like metallic painted, of course, but you know, due to the price point, there's only so much you can really do. You know, an example is that they don't have the visor, because you know the visor, Heavy Gunner has the visor that covers the eyes, but you don't really get that here with this figure. But you know, you still get like the light, the microphone, and you know the badge really. There's not anything at the bottom of the feet. I think Egg Robo had something going on there. I think it was like a sticker or so. Nothing with Heavy Gunner. And then here is the jetpack right here. I do want to show off the accessory real fast. So here's the accessory, which is the blaster. And the blaster looks nice. You know, it's really just a solid plastic really. But you know, it's pretty accurate to how it looks, and you can kind of like, if I can try to force this into the hand right there, as you can see, there you go. And yeah, Heavy Gunner can, oh, I gotta zoom out for this one. Gotta zoom out for this one. But as you can see, Heavy Gunner can, you know, hold on to the gun. There you go. If I bend the elbow a little bit, you know, there you go. But out to the side, probably going to be an issue. I think I was having that issue with the, oh, well, never mind. All right then, so Heavy Gunner can hold it out to the side. So there you go. All right, now let's get into the articulation. So you do have a full rotation here to the head along with the arms, and you do get a hinge out of that shoulder, which pretty much goes all the way high up. You do have your single jointed elbows, and there's, you know, of course, there's really good range right there, and you have a rotation there as well. And what's really cool is that Heavy Gunner has the ball hinge now for the elbows and then the knees, because you know Egg Robo didn't have that. The wrists are just on a ball peg, but you do get a rotation out of that. Now for the hips, Heavy Gunner can kick forward just about here. You get that much range going on there, and then back just about there. And you can rotate these, of course, so you know you can like kind of have it Heavy Gunner, I guess, sort of do the splits. There you go, as you can see. So yeah, something like that if you want. But yeah, so let me actually just put these back. And then for the knees, single jointed knees, you get this much range, and then there is a rotation. And then for the ankles, it's just a rotation as well. And yeah, that is pretty much the articulation for Heavy Gunner. Very similar to, you know, Egg Robo, of course. Now you can see that they're not really the same like sculpt really. Heavy Gunner does have a whole new sculpt. Heavy Gunner is a little bit shorter, but that's because the torso is a little bit smaller. You know, the head's bigger, the arms, the hands, everything's like a lot bigger. The jetpack, oops, did not mean to drop Heavy Gunner there, but you can see even the jetpack is bigger. Like Heavy Gunner is just a whole lot bigger than Egg Robo, but Egg Robo is like taller just because of like the torso, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much that. But I do like, I mean, I like both of these figures. I really think they did a really nice job. So let me actually put this back. Like, I was kind of confused for a second. I'm like, what am I doing here? Okay, so let me put this back. There you go. And then I just wanted to pose both of them with their guns right here. And yeah, there you go. As you can see, trying to get the guns in frame right here. But yeah, I think these two look pretty great together. I really do like this. Now another thing that you can do here is you can still remove the jetpack if you want. So let me just try to, yeah, there you go. So yeah, you can still remove the jetpack. So if you want to know what Heavy Gunner looks like without that, there you go. And you know, of course, you could also do the same for Egg Robo. So there you go. There they are without their jetpacks. Okay, now before I do any more comparisons, I do want to show some things out. I've been messing around with this figure for a bit, which is good. You know, that means I'm actually enjoying myself with the figure, and you guys know me. I love posing my figures around. But I really think that the Heavy Gunner has better range compared to the Egg Robo. I'll show off the elbow joints again. Like I said, the it has better range with the elbows. I think Egg Robo was only just able to get 90, I believe, but you can see this one curves up like that. And I know the shoulder's supposed to be like here actually, but it's still pretty good. And I don't know if I showed the knee joints that well, but it does go high, you know, up about here really. But I really like messing with the heavy gunner for a bit. Like I can because you know it's like a police officer, so I can like have the hands behind the back, which is pretty cool. Or I can like kind of make it salute. It's gonna be weird though because it's, you know, fisted hand, but you know I got to use the right hand. So if I make it like salute, make it stand up straight, will it balance? And yeah, yep, it can in a way. Let me turn the head a little bit. Yep, there you go. See? So that looks kind of funny. But another thing that I did, and I'll see if I can try to pull this off again. Let me just see if I can put the gun back, or the blaster back in the hand, like that. And let's see if I can try to pull this off again. I was trying to put it in like a running position. I don't know how I did it exactly. But I thought it was really cool how I was messing with this guy doing something like that. But I don't know. I kind of like it though. I mean, it's still balancing, but yeah, pretty much that. Okay, now let's get into the rest of the comparisons. I just wanted to compare it to two other figures. So here is Classic Sonic. And then here is Dr. Robotnik right here. Let me actually move this back a little bit. But yeah, there you go. Okay, and the last one we have here is Mephiles. Now this is actually pretty awesome to see since Mephiles doesn't really have an action figure. So it's really nice to see Jakks kind of pull this off right here. Especially since, you know, Mephiles hasn't really had a huge part in a Sonic game since, you know, Sonic 06, and that was, you know, a while ago now. So it's really cool to see, you know, a Mephiles figure at a time like this really. So that's really cool to see right here. So far I will say the sculpt on this guy is actually really good. You can see there's like a lot of cracks, what's like all over the figure, the hands, the legs, like all around, and even the quills. Like the sculpt around the quills is actually really good too. You can see a lot of sculpting going on here with the, you know, the feet right here, you know, the tail right there, of course. And I really like, you know, the transition going on with the, you know, the purple, and then I guess it's like, yeah, I would say it's like white in a way. Yeah, I would say it's like white and like purple really. And then, you know, the sculpt for like the chest fur right here. But yeah, it's really good. There's even some, even like in the eyes, like it's really nice. I really like the attention to detail they did here with the cracks going all around Mephiles. That looks really nice. Now I do have one big gripe with this figure. It's the color. He's way too purple. Not really a fan of that, honestly. I feel like it's just way too purple on this guy. I know, like I think like in Sonic 06 originally he was like a, I think he was like a really dark purple, which I really liked honestly, because I feel like later on when he got like a new render they made him a little bit purple. But he wasn't like this purple though. Like this is a bit too much. But I really liked the really dark purple in Sonic 06 because I felt like it brought the eyes and like the glowing things around his quills a lot better really. I really liked that. Speaking of the eyes, I just realized they don't have like that that black sort of line or whatever that he has around his eyes. That kind of looks really creepy honestly. So I don't really see that. Now, there's another weird thing here. He has feet, because, you know, Mephiles doesn't really, you know, have feet, really. I understand why they did this, just because, you know, the figure, I mean, it's bad enough that these figures are a problem to stand anyway, so I understand why they did that, to, of course, have the figure stand on his own. I don't really care, honestly. I mean, yeah, it doesn't match the source material, but, you know, if they had to do it to have the figure stand, then I'm okay with that, really. So you do have this right here. This is this base. It's like that, you know, that purple mist that kind of, you know, it's like all over Mephiles' feet, really. But you can see it is transparent. As you can see, you can like see through there, and then there's peg holes, or not peg holes, but there's pegs right there because Mephiles has the peg holes here. And, you know, you can see the mold for the feet. So actually, I think it's this way. But yeah, as you can see, this is pretty much what this is for. It's really just to show, well, it's really pretty much just to hide the feet, really, because he always has this. I do wish it was a little bit higher, though. I feel like it's a bit too short, honestly. I don't know. I feel like it's just a little too short, even if I just have it on the ground. I mean, even if you can still see it because if you have it in this angle, but in this angle, you can still somewhat see it because I feel like it kind of covers up most of, like, I don't know. I feel like it's like around his shin, I believe, but I do feel like it's a bit too short though on the figure. I don't know. And then of course it does make him taller because, you know, it is really a base. But yeah, that's how it looks. And then here's like the back side right here. So yeah, pretty much that. Now, let me actually, before I talk about the feet for a bit, I do want to go over the articulation on this guy. So if you have a shadow figure, you know what you're getting into. You know, so the head's really just on a ball peg, but since it's really low on the neck, you can't really have him like really look up or down, just a little bit, really. That's all you're really getting. And pivoting, it's kind of there in a way, but you are really just going to get your standard rotation. For the shoulders, you know, of course you have your full rotation there. You have a hinge to the shoulder that goes pretty high about here. There is no elbow joints, but the wrist, let me actually zoom in just a little bit here. But the wrists, they're just on a ball peg as well. And then you have your rotation going on there. Now for the hips, he can kick forward just about here and then back just about there. And then you do have your knee joints. If I can try to bend the knees. Well, I cannot bend the knees actually. Okay, I can't actually try this one for some reason. Let me try this one. Okay, there you go. So you do have your single jointed knees there. And of course you can rotate that. And you can actually rotate, you know, the feet right there. So yeah, the articulation is pretty much going to be the same as Shadow. But the feet right here, if you're not a fan of how this looks on Mephiles, you can pop these off, because remember, these are just a ball peg. So let me just pop this off. As you can see, I would put this on the opposite foot, right? So I put them on the opposite feet, as you can see, but you still have that thing. So if you actually rotate this around and then rotate this, as you can see, it kind of looks like how his feet would originally look like, you know, like how the spike thing is up like that. And I don't know, I personally think this looks better if you don't want to like see like this thing. It's gonna look weird though because it's like that. But I mean, if you were doing like some photography, you could just kind of slide this like that, and then I would say maybe slide it this way. And then as you can see, now it kind of looks like this. See, this is actually how it looks right here, and I think this still looks okay. And you can still have them stand. If I can, there you go. See? And then you can still put this on the base. Okay, now let's jump into some comparisons. So I'm going to compare Mephiles to Shadow. So here is how these two look. Shadow's kind of awkward trying to stand because I don't know, like he's so top heavy I can't really get him to stand straight. But here is Shadow next to Mephiles right here. Here is Sonic. And then we have Silver. So I'm mainly just using like the main crew, of course. And then I'll try Blaze right here. Here's Blaze with Mephiles. And then here is Dr. Eggman. Actually zoom out a little bit more. So there's Eggman and Mephiles. And then here is Omega. I thought I would use like a bigger figure right here. So here's Omega and Mephiles right here. Alright, so that is going to wrap up this review on the Jakks Specific 4-inch Classic Supersonic Heavy Gunner and Mephiles figure from Wave 15. I'm actually pretty happy that I ended up liking these figures a lot more, because even though these are characters that I wasn't too crazy about. I will say Jakks did an outstanding job on these guys. I was really impressed with what we had going on here. Not a lot to really say on Classic Supersonic since he is very similar to his other figures, but we do finally have a normal 4-inch Classic Supersonic, so that's great. Heavy Gunner is definitely my favorite out of these three. I really enjoyed posing this guy around, and overall just liking the design of this robot as a character too. And then as for Mephiles, really nice sculpt on this figure. I think the sculpted cracks they made here look phenomenal, especially for a figure that's only 10 bucks. I think they did a really nice job with that. But again, my only gripe with this figure is the purple being too light and him missing some details around his eyes. The figures do have some weird paint specks around them, but it's not too noticeable from far away. But I mean, so far I enjoyed myself with these three, and I'm looking forward to what other characters we'll see next year. But let me know, what are your thoughts on these in the comments down below. If you want to know where I picked these up, I was lucky enough to find these figures at Target, so if you haven't checked Target in a while, you may see these there. However, that is going to wrap it up here, so thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the review, but until then, take care, my friends.